Yes, people, welcome back. I think this is going to be the first one of 2022. Jay, am I right?
It shall be. It shall be.
Boom. Yeah. So above the knee, the first of 2022. And we are joined by Nancy Gillen. Nancy, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Really excited to have you on. Right. Let's get straight into it. I don't want to do any formalities. I've got a question to ask you. The new England kit, not a fan.
I'm not. I think it looks, or we'll have to see whether they confirm it. I think it looks a little bit tacky. It's just something about the kind of like the shininess of it and like the kind of glitteriness of it. It just looks like really like a kids edition of the England kit. And then it's got this weird like glitter stuff going on. But sometimes when they leak kits and it looks weird in like the weird smuggled photo
Always
that
looks
someone has
better
taken
on.
like in the dark. Yeah, like when they put it on the player, it normally looks a lot better. But I don't know, it just is a bit weird. And I think for the women's kits that Nike made before, the ones for the 2019 Women's World Cup, they were so nice. That is quite a lot of like pressure to live up to. So maybe my expectations are too high.
Jay, have you seen it? Are you a fan?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's much
Your
to
face just
as soon as I saw it, I was like, they do know like the Euros is going to be in England. Like we need to look incredible. Like the kits need to be up there, and like I don't know. It just seems like there's more to come. Like the person got there on day one when he should show like day 36 of what they're making. Yeah, I didn't think it was impressive. But once again, once it's on, like it could look very different.
I want to say a fan, but it sort of reminds me of the Man City second kit. But then again, that is white and green. And I know England shouldn't be white and green. Like in my head, that can't happen. Like, so I think in a home Euros, it should be like as classic as you can go. I get that we're always trying to push the boundaries and be a little bit techie, but yeah, let's just keep it classic. Like it's got a red shirt, a white shirt. Like even I don't even think I'm really on like I don't know, like white shorts. I don't know if I love white shorts in a white England kit. I think I like the darker shorts.
But, I'd like a nice red one, like all the classic England ones I remember. This like the one that Steven Gerrard wore in his peak, like that red one, red and gold, kind of like that.
Oh, when it used to have the number up here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's long ago. That was like years ago. I remember having that kit. That was Umbro? That was I remember.
Yeah, the Umbro one. Yeah.
God, the good old times, the good old days. I'm still a big fan of Umbro being the England kit manufacturer because it's like. I know it's going to sound like super Brexit, but it's like English, isn't it? It's like an English brand, and I'm pretty sure it's under Nike's umbrella now. I don't know how. Don't quote me that, Jay. Make sure that's cut out because I don't know if that's true. But I'm pretty sure it is under Nike's umbrella. Let's talk Euros. Nancy, how are you feeling about them?
I mean, in terms of, is this England or like the tournament as a whole?
England.
Let's start on the tournament as an all, and then we can go to England.
Okay, yeah. Well, tournament as a whole, I'm very excited. I think it could just be an absolute massive moment for women's football here, and I think it's looking really positive. Like the ticket sales and stuff, it looks like. I mean, I don't know if you guys entered I did get tickets for the opener and the final, and I mean, I'm hoping to go to some just like working as a journalist, but I went in for the ballot for. England, Northern Ireland, because like my dad's Northern Irish and we wanted to go together, and I didn't get it, and I was like, that's amazing to go into a ballot for a women's football match and not get it. So I think tickets look like they're flying, and that hopefully means like really good atmosphere and packed stadiums. But then segueing into how England and my opinions of England, I think it really depends on how well England do, because like as we saw in the summer with the men's. When England do well in a tournament, it just goes mad and like everyone watches it. And if the women do well, the whole country could suddenly be like watching women's football and invested in the team and wanting to watch every match. And it would just be attracting that attention that it's never had before. But it's fully determined on England actually doing well, which I think they will like obviously get into the knockouts, but then just every single team in that tournament is so good. And I think it's in the knockouts, it's either probably like Germany or Spain. And if I'm being honest, I'm not 100% sure if England are kind of up to beating those teams yet. I know there's the tournament in February, which is Germany, Spain, and Canada. And I think after that tournament, it'd be a better assessment of how we can do. We haven't really had those matches against the really big teams. So I'm waiting to that to reserve my judgment. But at the moment, I'm not 100% sure that we can go all the way to the final. I'd love for it to happen, but just not the most confident right now.
I feel like with a home tournament, you can never write a team like the home team off from getting to potentially the final or the latter stage. I was trying to think then, teams that haven't done very well, like hosting wise. I can't really think. Like,
yeah, it's only when they've not been the best team. So say I think like like
in
South
my head,
Africa
I'm thinking
in the
like,
World
yeah,
Cup,
but they
and
still
so,
got
but
the
like
groups, right?
yeah, I think Russia. I remember at the 2018 World Cup, they had that man match where they won like 5-0.
They were on mental, yeah. They were doing mental stuff. Like I don't know what they were doing at Russia.
Yeah, it's just running everywhere.
That guy was playing out of his skin. He's not really done a lot since then, which is very, very suspect. But yeah, I think in terms of the Euros, I think like we had a taste of it with the World Cup in 2019. And I think if we can have that sort of, I don't know if I want to say success, but I don't feel like that was the most successful tournament for us. I feel like we should have done better than we did.
The World Cup?
Yeah,
went backwards.
Yeah, I'd say like 2015 time, like when the expectations were maybe lower and stuff. I don't know. I think that was a really good tournament for England. But yeah.
I used to feel like it was avoid a couple teams and you'll be all right. It's a bit like with the men's game, isn't it? Like avoid like Germany, the US, but now it's like, okay, we've got to avoid the US. Yes, I'm going to say the US. The talent pool is ridiculous. Like Spain, even Canada. Canada aren't even in what's called Euros, but like all these teams now, like that weren't really a problem for us before, are now a problem for us.
Yeah, it's a lot of a big, like massive. I mean, that is the thing with the Euros. It's only like 16 teams, and once you get out of the group stage, like every single team is really, really good. It's just not. It's not an easy tournament at all. But yeah, like
Euros,
you said,
Euros is definitely harder to win than the World Cup. 1,000,000%.
Yeah. I think home support will have a massive impact though, because for a lot of the players, it'll be the first time they'll be in, like massive, like big stadiums with hopefully sell out crowds, and hopefully that support will really push them on and definitely give them an advantage.
I'm excited for the opener at Old Trafford. I think I feel like a lot of people will go to that one purely because it's Old Trafford and it's the opener. And if we can start it on like the right foot, I think like that would be like amazing.
Yeah, I think
that'll be hot as long as the weather's good.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like,
it's quite an easy. Well, it's not an easy game. Is it Austria? I think that's a winnable game. So that can kind of set the standard. You win that game, like you said, loads of people are there, loads of people watch on TV. Then people will get hooked and like watch every other match. So yeah, I'm really excited for that match. I think it'd be great.
So what games have you got lined up so far? You got a couple lined up already, right?
Yeah, I've got a ticket for the opener and then the final. But I'm hoping just with
skeptical. You're like, get a little taste of it for the opener. You're like, yeah, this is it. This is it. Final next.
I'm hoping to work the majority of them. That's how I want to be there as a journalist. I think just doing a home football tournament is too big an opportunity to miss. I'm hoping that the majority of them I'll be there working as a journalist. But yeah, the final, I'll see if England get there or not. I think I'd rather be there as a fan.
Something about working like home Euros, like does feel mad special. Like even like when I did the one just gone, which wasn't really a home Euros, but we had a lot of games at home, and you feel like, bro, you're like, I'm playing here. Like I've got a good run of games here. Like it's so mental how engrossed you get. But like, what else can you do? You can't. It's so hard to go and be. Well, I don't know about you, but I find it really hard to go and try be neutral
Yeah, what, in a press box?
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
so
found, like,
hard.
I've been to like Arsenal women's games in the press box, and that is kind of, you find yourself this like reaction in your
Mm.
instant reaction, like
Like the knees going under the table.
Yeah, or
reflexes.
your
Yeah, you
hand
go like
going
that,
up.
and then you're like, oh, or you say something, you like, you just react to something happening on the pitch, just comes out. It is hard to be, I think, neutral when you're supporting the team. You're
Mm.
working on the team that you support. Um, yeah, I think that's why I think for the final, if England were in it, I think I'd rather go as a fan than as
Yeah,
a journalist, because you want to like soak it up properly and enjoy
really
it.
just let
And
it go.
yeah,
Just
if we
live for the
win,
moment.
yeah, you want to enjoy that moment. So hopefully that would be a decision I'll have to make at the time.
Yeah, I mean it's not a bad decision to make at all.
No.
Let's talk your route into journalism. I'm always really interested to see how different people like get into their profession, because I feel like not a few years ago, but like maybe like my parents, it was very linear. Like,
Mm.
this is your job. You make these steps to get into your job. What was your journey?
Yeah, so well, I knew I wanted to get into sports journalism. I think probably like relatively young compared to, I think, most people when they decide what they want to do. It was probably around like 2012 when I was about
Mm.
15ish, and it was like the Olympics at the time. Like I was fully obsessed with them, and I was like, I want to be a part of this whole kind of like sporting world, but wasn't good enough as an athlete. Obviously, well, I'm not an athlete. So then it was kind of the whole writing thing is the route. That's what I was good at. So I decided like, oh, I'll try and be a sports journalist. That's what I'll try and do. So yeah, I went to uni, but I didn't do journalism at uni. I did history and politics, with the idea of doing like a master's in sports journalism after, if I needed to. And then I just did like student newspaper at uni. I did year in industry working in the communications section of the university. So I was doing like, press releases and writing up stories and like staff magazine and stuff like that. So it wasn't sports
Mm.
journalism, but it was kind of like that relevant experience. And then when I left uni, I was still, that idea of doing a master's in sports journalism was still like there, but I was also applying for jobs until like I had to make a decision basically. So like graduated in like May or whenever you graduate, and then I had until September basically. And then I was just very fortunate to get a job in journalism straight away, which I know is like a very kind of fortunate thing to do, because I think the chances of doing that are quite slim. I think I was quite lucky because it was at this Olympic news website called Inside the Games, and
Mm.
they wanted people that hadn't done journalism, hadn't done it as a qualification, because I think they wanted to like mold people into their own style,
Yeah.
as opposed to people that have come out of like doing journalism as a course, and they might have certain, which is a good thing obviously to
Yeah.
learn those things, but this company didn't want that. And then
A
they
lot, a lot
also
of
had,
companies are like that though now. I see a
yeah,
lot of things that is like apply for not apprenticeships, but like internships or like what you'd expect, further learning almost. And it's like when it's journalism, it's like no journalism degree is preferred. And I was like, what? Like,
yeah, it's almost counterproductive to what people tell you. And like you were saying, it's not linear. Like you can do it both ways. Um, I know so many people that have done journalism as a qualification and are now successful in the industry. Um, but yeah, I think it also helped that they hadn't had a female reporter yet. So
mm,
they were on the lookout for, I think, to increase the number of women they had in the company. So it was kind of just like good timing for me. So that was in 2018 that I started there in the summer there, and then that was like it was proper throw you in the deep end. Like they did, so it was Olympics, but it was all kind of basically all sports, and it was a company that was less for fans of sport and more for people in the industry in terms of like the governing bodies. So say the people that work for FIFA or the people that work for like World Athletics. So, and then you'd go to all these events around the world, but you'd literally just go like by yourself, and it was really like like sink or swim basically. So that was great, like going to all these different events and stuff. But I really always kind of wanted to be in women's sport. that was kind of what I was really passionate about, like increasing the coverage of it. That is kind of where I wanted to go in journalism, in sports journalism. So then, yeah, when Give Me Sport Women, when they relaunched in March of this year, or 2021 even, I kind of jumped at the opportunity to join them, even though it meant missing covering the Olympics with Inside the Games. So I sacrificed doing the Olympics for doing women's sports with Give Me Sport Women. So yeah, joined them in March. So I've been there for 9 months now, and it's a lot of fun getting to do what I do. And so I suppose I only really started out properly in journalism in 2018. So to kind of get to where I am now has been an amazing journey, and I feel very lucky to be in the job that I'm in.
We always say that when we've had other guests on, and everyone always says like, I'm really lucky, but like you put the work in, like you said, going to events on your own. When you're doing it at uni, like the work's there. Don't put it down just for luck.
And the sacrifice as well.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You have to be like Megan Rapinoe and be like, I deserve this. Like no matter what, like if you get something, you have to be like, I deserve it, because it's like you do. Because everything, like the decisions you make, like they put you here.
Yeah, no, that is true. And like especially in the old job, which was all the traveling, like you missed a lot of stuff that was happening at home, like friends' birthdays and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I'll say I deserve it, but also a bit of luck as well.
Yeah, love it. No, I'm here for the giving yourself your props. Like it's one thing I don't know if it's like a generational thing. I don't know if it's like one of them quintessential British things that something about it doesn't feel very nice. Like just to be like, yeah, you know what, I did deserve this. Like it feels a bit of a weird thing, but yeah, no, you absolutely do. We asked Nancy this last time, Nancy Baker, and I really like the question, so we'll ask you as well. What's your dream piece of content? Like your perfect, like the perfect article, or like what would be your dream? Yeah, your dream piece of content. You can have any budget, any guest, any sport.
Oh, that is good. I think I'd love to do. Can it be like a lot, as in like a strand, a content strand or something like that?
Oh yeah, of course.
Whatever
yeah,
you like.
It's your dream. I can't.
I think I'd just love to do like probably maybe like 5 or 10 of the most iconic sportswomen in the world. Do like an in-depth feature, like sit down interview with each one, and do it like a like a content strand where just what makes them tick, like their inspirations, their hopes and dreams, all of that kind of stuff, just like really getting inside them. Just a really like nice written. It could do it written. I mean, writing is where my strength is, but if anyone wants to come and film it, feel free. Do some like nice video content around it as well. But yeah, I think a lot of the top sportswomen in the world, people like Simone Biles and that, it's not even just the sport side of it, it's everything else that she does, like
the human aspect
over the Olympics. Yeah, exactly. And the fact that she essentially sacrificed like winning a ton of gold medals for her mental health and putting that first, how great that was, and just things like that. Like a lot of the top sportswomen have those amazing stories, and kind of off the court, off the pitch or whatever, those amazing stories as well. So yeah, just getting to chat to people like that, I think would be amazing.
That is like amazing. That would be so sick. That's very like in my head, and you think like them sort of interviews, it's like Oprah does them, and it's just like so mental. And but I think there's such like, I don't want to say a lack, because there are people that do them, but they always feel like a bit like staticky sort of thing. But like, yeah, to be able to sit down with someone and open up about everything, I think would be like unbelievable, like ridiculous content. It'd be so good.
Yeah, just about getting access to these
that's honestly impossible at the moment.
Yeah,
this something else I'm quite interested in. How do you find a story? Because I always like, I'm not a journalist, but like my work sort of flirts with the side of it, and I see other people, and like I see people like find stories, and I think like, how have you done this? Like, this is incredible. Where did you see this, or how did you find it? In my head, I can't comprehend how like you're able to find a story. But how do you do it?
Yeah, I think a lot. You know what? I think social media is actually like a massive gold mine of things. because people share everything on social media,
Mm.
and you can just find it's almost kind of like running upon it sometimes, like accidentally, really. Like you just kind of see someone tweet something and you're like, oh, actually that would make a really good story, or you like see a story that someone has shared on social media. So I think that's a massive goldmine. I think as well, like, I want to get to this stage in my career that people do start almost giving you stories as well, because if you're kind of viewed as like a respected or like trusted person,
Mm.
then I know when some athletes have kind of got something that they want to share, or that they feel is important, that they want to get out in the public, they speak to a journalist. So I'm not quite at that stage yet, but it would be great to have that kind of reputation where you've got people like messaging you, DMing you, or whatever, like, this is a story I've got, like, can we do something on this? But yeah, I do find it's just kind of like almost stumbling upon stuff. I mean, like every morning I just look at like literally everything, like look for as much news, women's sports news as possible, and then just stuff comes from that. And and as well, doing interviews with people as well. That's just you can be speaking to an athlete and not kind of be thinking, asking a certain question, and then something else comes out of that question, and then going down that avenue instead, and then you get a new piece of information that you didn't necessarily know about, and then that itself can also become a story. So yeah, a few different ways.
I think like you're saying, when people like they come to approach like journalists, I think that must be like so special, like that's like mental to me. But I feel like in the US that happens a lot. Like, and it's like if you look at like Stephen A was obviously Jay, I know you follow him. Like was really close with Allen Iverson, and he sort of like enhanced his career massively, because it's like, okay, we've got this superstar who trusts. Siri's going mental. We've got this superstar who trusts this journalist, and it's like, and it sort of like catapulted them both. Like, I think that's like wicked, and also like having someone trust you to tell a story must be like, like you're like, oh, this is really like a nice feeling. Nice is such a terrible word, but like a really like special moment for not only for yourself, but like for the athlete, for them to read your work and be like, yeah, like this is what I wanted.
Yeah, and I think you've seen it happen outside of sport, like some of the biggest stories in the world ever. So I always think of things like Me Too and stuff like that. That's always started with journalists being contacted by people, and then that turns into a massive story. And it's also happened in the world of sport, like you were saying. There are certain athletes that almost like work with journalists, I think, and kind of it's a like beneficial partnership, isn't it? Because the journalist enhances their career by getting all these scoops and these stories, and then the athlete promotes their image through the journalist. So it's it like I think it does happen in the US a lot, but yeah, maybe we'll see it happen here more. I don't know.
I think we'll get there. I feel like a lot of media is going how the US is. I think we're on the catch up sort of thing in terms of maybe sport doesn't always like a sport as in like the media around it, the spectacle of sport. I think we will get there eventually. But yeah, it's just I feel like it's a really exciting time in sport at the moment, but like in sports media side of things. I don't know how you feel.
Do you think that the look, I don't even know if it's the look or the mold of a journalist has changed? I think like Sky Sports have a lot more like almost content creators and people like that. So do you think now it's more of a welcome space from someone that doesn't have the stereotypical journey as a journalist, like gone through uni and stuff, and they're getting the chance to like have their voice? How do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think I mean before like however many years ago, like 20, 30, 40 years ago, it was all about like written stuff, and then obviously like broadcast as well. But now, like you say, there's so many different aspects to journalism. So like podcasts like this, like filming, graphic design, like you can literally do journalism through graphic design essentially. It's and all of these skills as well are things you can teach yourself. So yeah, you don't have to go to like university for it. You can just teach yourself how to do it and like get up to a good standard. Whereas before there was like it was written and there were set like rules that you had to do, which you could only learn in a certain place. But now it's like you said, it's definitely a lot more open and inclusive. And I think as well, it's beneficial if you're able to do more than just like write or shoot a like film. If you've got all these little like kind of extra arrows to your bow, like it makes you so much more like well-rounded journalist. So yeah, no, definitely.
I think social media is like a massive pull in that, because like, this is going to sound like mega old, but I'm assuming this is how it was. Like, if people were wanting to be a journalist, it's like, okay, I really want to write this article. If it's not going to the newspapers, like, you've not really got an outlet. But now you could write in your notes and tweet it, and it literally be as basic as that. Or if you did a Twitter thread and people are like, oh right, this is actually really interesting, and it can build from there. But so yeah, I think, as bad as I think social media is sometimes, I do think like it's a very useful tool, especially like for creating communities and learning, like even like as a skill share. Is that a skill share? Is that what I want to say?
Is that the website? Are you talking about the website or just in general?
Nah, not the website.
Oh.
I feel like that's the same, but I feel like it's not. I feel like my old housemate used to say it all the time, but I can't. just stole his bars. It's, he's not. It is what it is. But seeing as it is now 22 unofficially, can we talk? What's everyone's goals? What's everyone's goals for 2022? Jay, would you like to go first? What one of your goals for 2022?
One of my goals
could be anything. It could be learning how to scramble some eggs. I know you're in the cooking game now.
No, I want to learn how to drive. That's my goal for 2022. I want to learn how to drive. So that's my big one.
That's the big one. Learning to drive is.
Yeah,
I need to be in control of my destiny. I think with public transport, I'm not in control of my destiny.
Yeah.
Like, if a train stops somewhere, it's like we're stopping it. No, I need to get to places. If I have my car, like that's it. And I think too much stuff has happened. Like, I've moved out of London now, and like trains aren't as reliable as they used to be, and like they're not as often. So it's like, yeah, I really need to start driving. So that's my goal.
Yeah, easier to get to football matches and stuff as well in the car.
Yeah, I'm big on public transport. Big on the public transport game, you know. Tram tickets. Yeah, but I went from driving back to public transport, because where I grew up there wasn't any really, and now I find myself like compensating from that, like what you were saying, Jay, like about it being stopping. Sometimes I'm like just on time. Sometimes I'm like, or sometimes honestly I'm like 2 hours early.
Yeah.
And I get like, I'm like being really early, so it makes me well anxious, but like if the thought of being late makes me anxious as well. so I literally can't go anywhere. Like, I turn up to places and I'm like, right, I'm 20 minutes early. I don't really want to go in because I don't want everyone to know I'm well early. I'll just walk around. Like, I'll just walk around outside and be like, I'll do this for however long. We'll do a few laps of the block. And it's just like, right, I need to just get over this and go in. Nance, what's one of your goals?
I think, I don't know, there's so many like events happening here in summer. So Euros, I want to like, as with work, cover the Euros as a journalist, and also the Commonwealth Games as well. Which is like a little bit of an overlap. I think it's happening like directly after the Euros. So I think just especially as with COVID as well, obviously it's been harder to actually go to things and like be at these events, reporting and stuff. So I think I know that's kind of out of my control, because obviously it depends what happens like pandemic wise, but just be going to more events, and specifically the Euros and the Commonwealth Games, and reporting from them, which should be really fun.
You've obviously you touched on the Commonwealth Games there, in Birmingham. What are your expectations for it? Because I'm thinking like, obviously we had like comparison wise, we had it obviously in like 2000 and was it 3? Was it 6?
In the one in Manchester, maybe it was earlier.
When they
it might be
built
2002, yeah.
And then we had the Olympics, and then back to that. Do you think it can be comparable to the Olympics in terms of like impact wise?
I think potentially, but there's a lot less hype. And I think actually if you asked a lot of people, I don't think they'd actually know it's happening. And I don't know again if that is because of like COVID stuff,
COVID,
or
yeah.
because I don't want to sound like London centric at all, because I know things happen outside of London. But I don't know if it's also because it's kind of in a city outside of London. Obviously, I reckon everyone in Birmingham knows what's happening, but maybe there's a bit of, you know, people in their London bubble like, oh, I don't know about this. I think obviously once it gets started, it's a different kind of ball game as well, because I do remember for the London Olympics, there wasn't like loads of enthusiasm for it before. It was kind of when it started and everyone was like, this is great, when it really started like snowballing. So maybe the same will happen then. But I think I can like, I can't really see much reason why it can't be great, because there's so many like popular sports in it, like athletics, like everyone watches. Yeah, and you've got, even though it's not like all the countries like the Olympics, you've still got massive countries competing. Like, you know, for the Olympics, you've still got like Jamaica, so you'll still have like Elaine Thompson-Herah and like Shelly Ann Fraser-Price and like mad sprinters like that. So yeah, I think it's got potential, but at the moment, I am a bit surprised by how kind of like low key it seems.
Yeah, I feel like like you said, with COVID, everyone's sort of. I feel like with everything, everyone's sort of like, don't get too excited.
Yeah,
let's not all get too excited. But I think you're right. I think with if we can get one or two early success stories, like, or like, it doesn't even have to be like GB. If it can be anyone, if it's like someone's got a really good story and it comes out, and I feel like stuff like that like really makes people go, oh, I'm going to watch this now. Actually, because there's always like, you always get the one or two like really big stories that come out and everyone's like, oh, I'm watching for these athletes now. So I'm hoping that happens. I just love sport being on. Like, I'm just,
yeah, I know.
I'm one of the people that like I have to have it on. Like,
yeah, and for the Olympics, it's just like having my TV on permanently, just watching everything.
Yeah, and obviously with it being Birmingham, as much as people from London would like to say there is no time difference, so we can just get straight in and keep it moving. I don't know if Jay's here. Jay, you still there?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Right. Right. So back on talking 2022 as well. Goals, love that. How do you feel about resolutions? I'm going to be honest and say I don't love them. That's what I think are more goals and set, instead of I want to change this. I want to aim for this. Are you lot like any mad traditions that you lot do for going into the new year?
Yeah, I think I'm more goals than like changing, than resolutions. Like, I'm not really like, I want to like stop this behavior or anything like that. It's more like, you know, like career stuff, and then other things, just like, I can't remember. I was actually looking at the stuff I wrote down last year, and it was things I wanted to do more of, like, because I started running in lockdown, so I was like, I'll run a certain amount over the year, and just things like that. I think things just to keep me guided. Another one was like get 8 hours sleep, which I didn't do.
But things like that, like, you are hard. Like, they are hard. Going back to running, would you ever do a marathon?
Oh, I did the London Marathon in October.
Did you?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was sick. I absolutely loved it. Like, genuinely, it was one of the best days. People say that, and you're like, oh, it can't be that good, but it was just like, you know, everyone there. It was just the crowd, and like the atmosphere was incredible, and then just the sense of achievement after. And you do have a weird like come down, I think, because you've spent like 6 months of your life training for it, and then in kind of like the month or two before, it's really like hyper focused. You have to do long runs, so you're kind of like limiting what you do socially at the weekend and stuff like that, and then you have the day, and then it's over, and you're like, oh, this is like a hole in my life, basically. But yeah, no, it was wicked. I recommend it. I genuinely absolutely hated running before the pandemic started, so if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Are you still running? Are you still running now?
Yeah, still running now. There's a few like things I want to do in 2022. Like some of my friends are doing a trail marathon, half marathon, half marathon. So I'm gonna try that. I've got a bit of a dodgy knee, so I'm not sure how that will work. Like, I might have to walk quite a lot of that.
Yeah.
And then I've entered London again, so I'll see if I get it again. But it's quite hard to get. So
I was looking through, like, I never really got it before. Like, I never really thought London Marathon, that's a bit of me. And it still probably isn't I don't
It'll
love
never
running,
be a
but
bit of me.
I was watching it, and like all the people posting after like their pints and their dinners, like straight after, and I was like, I don't think unless I do a marathon, I'll ever be able to fully appreciate how probably delicious that is.
Yeah.
Like that, finishing that, and then having whatever you want to have after. That must be like
Yeah.
the most delicious thing in the world.
I remember because you get like a bag. I don't think they do this normally. I think it's because of COVID. You have like a bag that they send you, and then you put all your stuff in it. And then when you go and get your number, you a few days before, you give it to them, and then they give it back to you at the end of the line. So I could put like snacks that I wanted at the end. And I was just thinking like, oh, healthy snack. I put in like fruit and nut. And then when I got to the end of the marathon,
fruit and nut chocolate?
No, not even chocolate, like literally just like dried fruit and nut. And I got to the end of the marathon, I looked in the bag and I was like, fruit and nut. Like I just really wanted some Monster Munch, pickled onion Monster Munch. And all I had was fruit and nut. I was so angry at myself that I didn't put like a really nice like snack in there. But then yeah, I did go to the pub and had a pint and a meal, and that was amazing. So
I honestly don't think anything can top it. I tried to do couch to 5K, and I struggled a bit. But whenever I see people do it, I think like I used to think you're mental. Like if I like saw on Twitter you'd done it, like 2 years ago I'd have been like, oh, like Nancy's mental. Like what's it going on? Like, I couldn't get my head around it. But now I look at it and think like that is like I don't know what else could compare to that sort of achievement.
Yeah.
Did you hit the wall?
Yeah, I hit. Oh, it was so annoying. I hit the wall, so I ran basically the whole thing, which I was really like happy with. But like 800 meters from the end, like the whole time when I was running it, I was like, the last like kilometer, surely you just get this massive like adrenaline burst because you're near the end, and like the excitement of being near the end will just push you through.
Just roadrunner it the rest of the way.
Yeah, I got to like 800 kilometers left, and there were like these big signs telling me how long left, and it was like 800 kilometers, and I was like, oh my god, I can't do this anymore. My body just stopped. I started walking, and I walked like 400 or 600 kilometers, and then ran the last 200. But it was the weirdest thing ever, because I hit the wall, like I could see the finish line and I hit the wall, and my body was like, I can't do it. And I remember afterwards being really frustrated by it, but it's just one of those things. Like if I did another one, I'd know now to have like some sweets or something, or just to call someone. I should have just called like my mum or my sister and be like, tell me, just shout at me, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop.
What goes through your head when you're running? This isn't a dig. What's going through your head? Like because it's a long time, and like you can't really talk to people. No. What's in your head?
I don't know, I think, well, when I started running anyway, it was more of because it was like lockdown and stuff, it was kind of a like clearing heads thing anyway. So I don't know, I just like don't really think about anything, or just think about things about life or like work or whatever. I listen to music like for a bit as well, and you just kind of like sing along to that. I don't really know, but I just find it really like calming to my brain anyway. So I think maybe the fact that I don't really have anything to think about. I do recommend listening. Listening to podcasts though is great. Like last summer I was listening to like all the Euros podcasts as I was running and all of that. So but yeah, I think a lot of it is just actually the fact that for 4 hours you don't really have to think about anything, like anything important. And that's kind of the appeal of it to me a bit.
That's crazy. I always think like when I used to run, I'd have music on, and then if I didn't have music, I was like, I'd sing like the same song in my head, like over and over again. I was like, what am I doing with myself? But I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, when I get home and like take my shoes off, I can see the blisters. Like, what am I doing? Like, did you have bad blisters when you finished, or was you like super? I don't know. Does everyone, or is it like, can you be like?
I didn't have
super padded sock or something.
Yeah, I didn't have blisters. This is really grim. I didn't have blisters, but like all my toenails just fell off.
What do you mean by fell off?
Really?
They fell off. They just fell off. Like
not even
like straight away. Like 2 weeks later, they just fell off. It's really.
And you've applied to do it again?
Yeah, I mean, I just think I'm like permanently not gonna have toenails now. They
Maybe a
haven't
run
really,
faster.
they haven't grown
Go
back.
to that
They
extra
haven't grown
weight.
back. Yeah. It's what unnecessary. Like now I don't have toenails and it's fine. I'm fine.
Just living life.
Yeah, just living life with no toenails.
That is mental. I guess it's probably just like how much your body goes through, like in that time.
Yeah,
But
it does give
random
me.
fact for everyone that I think's real. I'm pretty sure. Sometimes I have these things. Sometimes I feel like I might have read it, but I could have also dreamt that I read it. So it's one of the two. But did you know humans used to just run their prey to death, like back in the day?
Really?
Like
What, they
that
just
was
ran
our
around with that?
thing. Our endurance was like unparalleled. So it was, if like we were going to chase like a cow, or it wouldn't have been a cow, but whatever the prehistoric version of a cow was, we'd just chase it until it died. Before we had tools and weapons, we'd just chase it till it
That's
was
mad.
exhausted and would die. Jay,
What
that's
happened-
true, bro. Like I'm sure.
What happened to the endurance, or is it just like when we run marathons, people like tapping into our like historic ability to run fast?
Because it's I don't know. It must be like something. But like that's why I think people can do it, and like some people can do it a lot better than others.
Yeah.
It's like, Jay, I'm telling you now, I'm pretty sure it's true, bro. I want to Google it, but I'm sure that's true. It does make sense. It does make sense because
we will make animals just tap out. We'll just make animals tap.
Yeah.
That is so funny. That is
honestly, once we finish this, Jay, I'm going to send you an article. I'm going to send you it as well, actually.
Yeah, no, I'm
pretty sure it's true. Like I don't know if it was caveman times, but once we started walking upright, I feel like such a gas man, but I'm legit. This is what I've read this, I think, and we could just run animals down, and that was it. Like just the whole squad would just chase an animal, and then we stopped because because humans weren't about in the dinosaurs' times. Like it was relatively, I want to say relatively recent, but like not recent, obviously. But it's since like, and then obviously when farming happened, we didn't need to because everything was there. And then and like as we got more intelligent, but then that's why we were able to progress as humans and be this advanced because we had more time. We didn't have to run after chickens for 8 hours. Like all of a sudden, we've got a chicken farm. We can get chickens in 10 minutes. Got 7 hours. You know what I mean? Like it does. If you think once you get over the funny side of 6 humans sprinting around after an animal to kill it, like it does make sense.
Yeah, the amount of energy they must have used though.
Yeah,
like probably was amount like they ate the animal eventually to replace the energy that they'd lost chasing after it. So it's kind of just like.
But it's one of the things. If they're like uber fit, like beyond fit.
They're doing bleep tests all the time, just making the animals pass out.
No, but it's like a lot of the Kenyan athletes are very good at marathons because the way, I don't know if it still is now, but Kenya used to be, a lot of things were far away. So you're going to your shops and you've got to go 10 miles. So now you're going 10 miles every single day to go shop, and it doesn't seem like a big deal to you. And now, but if like, and you're probably not using as much energy as you like, as if I was going to have to go 10 miles to the shop because I'm not that fit. But when you're chasing your food every single day, or once or twice a week, you're chasing down a bison, like you're gonna be all right. Jay, you're doing my nutting. I'm not gonna lie to you, mate. I'm gonna kick you from the chat. This is real stuff. This is real biology, bro.
I'm just thinking, what about that one animal that's actually fit? That's actually been working and seeing what people have been doing and it just survives.
No. Humans were top.
So that means
there was nothing better. There's nothing better than a human.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Long distance.
That is so funny.
I don't know if it's the way our bodies are, the lungs are, but listen, we were the best back in the day. Back in the day, you'd have had to do 20 marathons just for a slice of bison. Right, on that terrible note, I'm gonna call it. Nancy, thank you so much for joining us on Above the Knee podcast. I hope 2022 is absolutely sensational for you, and I hope that I'll see you at the Women's Euros working away.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a massive year, so hopefully see you guys about. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Right, thank you very much, Jay. Thank you as always, and thank you at home, everyone who has listened / watched. we'll see you again very soon.